Okay, so just to, recap, we serve Native American, Indigenous, Latinx, Indigenous Islanders, and our Two-Spirit LGBTQ community as well. And so that's who we serve. That's our community. That's our relations. Um, we really take Indigenous very seriously. That's our, central core. Just a little origin story about us. So NAHEM was born many, many eons ago. It feels like forever. Marina and I teamed up. And fun fact, Marina and I actually met on Twitter. Marina and I have never met each other in person. Like I have yet to lay my eyes on Marina. And we have done this all virtually. So when I say community and we were all related in some way, you would have thought me and Marina were BFFs. We lived together. No, we've never met. And we teamed up on social media and we just really started to kick this thing off. Um, and so COVID happened in our communities. We realized that, we need to tend to ourselves, to our communities, build ourselves back up. And so I want to say about the beginning of 2024, Marina and I were like, hey, you good? I'm good. Let's get going again. And then this year, we are really proud to say that we are officially, a nonprofit. We have our 501(c)(3) status. And so it's been a very beautiful journey of NAHEM. I think that, a lot of people love what we do, hence us all being in this Zoom room. And so, what do we do? I tried my best to encapsulate everything we do in a slide, but there's so much that we do. And everyone in this Zoom room, we're all gonna have our hands in it in some way. So just really briefly going over that, we emphasize and we wanna put importance to community development, cultural revitalization, education, and mentorship. And then current priorities. We also, Marina, fun fact, Marina is a really great ag nerd too, Melinda. And so Marina has really great ideas. And so all of these current priorities are located in Santa Rosa and surrounding counties in the Bay Area.
Yeah, in the Bay Area. Mhm.
So what we've been doing is, seed gardens, saving seeds, feeding futures, restoring foodways, emergency prep. And so that's something that we want to also kind of highlight in our communities, that not every community is going to have like a typhoon, a tsunami. When I lived in South Dakota, I didn't have to fear of, a hurricane coming through, but there are other emergency prep situations that happen in many communities that we just don't think about, because not everyone lives on a coastal, not everyone's in Tornado Valley. And so that's something that we want to really build up, is resilience through readiness and response. Um, Also, TE.
And it can also just be like an accident, somebody falling over, an elder, like I said, falling over, or a kid falling over, or even a car accident. Like emergency prep, it's like a wide range of things. It's not only, people always think of like fires, floods, but there's also other just day-to-day emergencies that can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then our last two is TEK. If you have never heard of the term TEK, it's traditional ecological knowledge. And then lastly, higher education access and CTE. So those are our current priorities right now. But what we focus on now may not look like what we focus on 6 months from now, because NAHEM is a community-driven, volunteer-led response org. And so right now, these are what our communities are needing. But like we said, we really highlight community development. And so whatever the communities need, we're always going to be in response to that and led by that. And I think that this is probably my favorite slide, just talking about what sets us apart, because, there's tons of nonprofits, there's tons of organizations out there, but I think what sets us apart, and why I'm really happy and honored that you all believed in us so much to volunteer with us, is that we're Indigenous led. We're relational, and we also want to build futures grounded in culture, not colonial expectations. And so sometimes you'll those with nonprofit experience and, corporate experience and just work experience, you're probably like, dang, what is Marina and Doris doing? This is so odd. It's because we don't want to take this normal colonial avenue. We're going to do some really backwards things. We're really going to blow up the system and make a new one. And that's why I'm really proud of what we do, because we really try to keep our native and indigenous philosophy and pedagogy at the forefront always. Anything that I missed, Marina, before we go into the volunteer information and fun facts?
Um, yeah, I think as far as the seed library, so yeah, that was like the seed garden, the seed library that we have now. Um, and then also, if anybody here needs any seeds, I don't have anything that's like regional. Well, actually, it is regional, but I have a lot of seeds. I have a lot of I would say more a lot of things from like Central Mexico. I have like amaranth seeds, and I have different like beans, even like some from like the East Coast. And then I also have zapatista corn, which is something that I don't believe people come across it that easy. So that's actually, I think it was created by the uh, Zapatista movement, the indigenous communities down in southern Mexico, basically. So if anybody, maybe nobody has heard about it, but SLN, which is basically a I would say a movement. It's also kind of like a party led by indigenous communities from southern Mexico. And this is one of their corns that they created. I believe there's maybe a few more strains, but I have one of them. So if anybody's interested in some corn seeds, I believe chili peppers, I have a list. I'll put up a list, and then if anybody needs any seeds, I'll be happy to send them. And then also cacti. I have some cacti. I don't think they're called seeds, but I have cacti babies, I guess. Yeah, different types.
Awesome. So just a few fun facts to kind of just congratulate everyone in the room and kind of just, pull that to the forefront is we have 19 volunteers in our summer cohort. Woo! And so we're really excited because at one point before, COVID, I mean, we had maybe like 30, 40 volunteers. We had a really well working volunteer group, and so we're really looking forward to building that back up. And so just a few fun facts about us. And so we're sort of evenly split. We have more graphic designers than our marketing and web data team, our grant researching team, and our outreach team, but we're a good even group this time around. Can't promise that's going to stay the same, but we're really excited and just really honored to see all the great talent and skill that you guys are willing to just put forward and work with us. Um, if you're wondering like, oh, what's even all out there? What else are we all doing? So I just wanted to go over the roles and the teams. We have grant researchers, grant writers, we have our outreach managers, our CRM and data entry folks, we have our graphic design and social media team, and then our marketing and fundraising. And so there's a lot of us, and sometimes you may feel like, oh, I want to know what someone else is doing. Like, please feel free, always, ask. Marina and I are going to try to have more of these sessions where we can just, pop in and just talk about what you're doing this week, or if you have any questions or you have any ideas or you just want to share and like, pop ideas out with each other. We'll always have these spaces. And so I'll put a pause here because Marina, I know that you wanted to talk about the branding guidelines and the Zoho Vault, right?
Yeah. So I
Okay.
also want to mention about the reason why we have a large number of volunteers. I guess depending on your experience, but I do feel like it could seem like a larger number. And one of the reasons why we do that is just to make sure that work is split evenly and we're not overloading people because it's a volunteer role. And we understand that people have other things to do and we want to be mindful of those things. And also another reason why things seem a little bit like slow start, just because we want to be mindful of that. And we want to make sure that when we're handing out tasks, everybody gets, just enough and a realistic, I guess, workload more than anything. And yeah, I want to talk about one of our platforms that some of you will get an invitation to, just depending on your roles, and it's called Zoho Vault, and that's basically just like a place where the passwords are kept, and you can use the links on there to go to like the website that you need to go to, and then the login information should just kind of populate. You can also copy and paste. And if you have any questions using that, or if you didn't get an invitation, like I said, you'll be getting those invitations. The people that are gonna be needing them, um, will be getting them over the weekend. And if for whatever reason you don't know if you are gonna get one or not, you can always ask. And then I'll talk some more about our platforms. So Asana, most of you will also be getting an Asana invitation or already have one, and that's basically just a project tracking software. I would say that at first maybe it looks strange if you are not familiar with project management softwares, but I would say within the first few weeks you should be able to like catch on. And if you still don't understand, you can always reach out to us and ask. And then there's Discord, and that's where we're doing most of our day-to-day communication. And you're also free to interact with each other, announce things, anything excited in the NAHEM announcement section. And then the Google Drive, most of you will get an invitation to this. And this is just where we keep all of our files for like in example, graphic designers need like their branding guidelines, they need logos. So they're all gonna be in there for the people that are gonna need them. And then also for other data that may be needed. And the email accounts, so some of you will get NAHEM email, some of you won't because it's not necessarily required. And we will be setting those up for the people that will need them, I would say in the next week or so. Um, so yeah, if you have any questions about any of the tools, you can just contact me, and I would say leave more of like the technical things to me, and then more of like the operational things to to Doris. And I am gonna show you briefly like the branding guidelines, just so um, people can see, I guess, our just to get a glimpse. Mm. Do you have the branding guidelines, Doris?
I don't have them.
Okay, we'll show them at the end then.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay. And I think that the last slide is just some important like policies, expectations, because yes, we have a really great volunteer system, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we are taking community very seriously. And we are also protecting the communities that we come across, the work that we do, the relationships we are building. This work is important work. It's hard work. It's, we're changing a lot of, historical trauma. We're going to be coming across a lot of really like sensitive, important stuff. And so we want to make sure that like we understand that and we take it very seriously. So you all have signed like confidentiality and policy agreements, because some of us are going to come across some sensitive information, sensitive stories. And so just a reminder to please honor those policies and those agreements for our graphic designers, for our grant writers, anyone, honestly, if there are, things that you have created, systems you created, work that you wrote, and you're like, hey, I really want to take this with me. I want to build a portfolio. Just talk to Marina first. We want to make sure that whatever work data is taken from this opportunity, that one, there's no like personal identifiers. We're not, extracting from our communities. We're not taking it. So just let us know if there's anything like that you want to take on in your portfolio. Ask Marina. we don't ever want to stifle anyone's growth, be thieves of your work, none of that. We want to have a very honoring, system both ways. And there's also some of our positions are may talk to be, talking on social media, outreaching, being in community. And so for those positions that are going to be a kind of external communicators in a lot of indigenous cultures, there's cultural protocol that should be always followed and honored. And so for those that are going to be having those conversations, Marina and I will definitely walk you all through that. And we just want to also be mindful that, we do have Indigenous folks here in the room. Um, and so please don't, um, it, this is a learning opportunity, but I also just want to be very mindful that some topics are very triggering for our Indigenous relatives here. And so if there's anything that you're curious about or want to learn more about, like I said, I want you all to learn from each other, but please just be very mindful of the conversations that may bring up topics that our communities have experience with. I hope I'm making sense, but I just want us to be very mindful that we are building a community here as well. So that's what I mean by representation and boundaries. And then lastly, that we want NAHEM to be a very safe space and an affirming space for our Two-Spirit and our LGBTQ plus IA community members. And so that is our first and foremost. We always want to be a safe space. We want to always highlight our members, always affirming our members and making that an important notion on our social medias, on our websites, and our work, even if it's grant writing or grant researching. And so I just wanted to leave us with that note as well. Um, Before I close out of the PowerPoint,
And then
Marina, is
and then
there
another,
anything?
oh, let me just add one thing.
Yeah.
And if you ever come across any content that you find like on another a nonprofit or another business or something like that, that you're like, oh, I think this would suit Nahum, just go ahead and share it. If you feel like maybe we got something wrong, go ahead and tell us. And um if you see any problematics, or if you like, any problematics about anything, then, just call it out. And if you feel like maybe there's, something that you want to share, maybe inspire you to share something, go ahead and share it. So anything we can definitely, we would love for our volunteers to have also a say with our content, as far as like representation, and also just for it to be accurate. And yeah, and make sure that all the opportunities, that we come across, are shared. So, you never know how that, one opportunity can help somebody out. So I think that's just what I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thanks for bringing that, Marina. Is that and I believe you mentioned this
And then
all
on,
views.
I want to add something is, and then I would say maybe in the coming month or so, you will also see bilingual content. So we'll also be doing like English and Spanish for a lot of our content. And then in the future, we also plan to maybe even add like native languages as well.
Yeah. So if you know any other languages fluently, please let us know. Drop it in the chat. So if we would love to honor that as well. And Marina brought up a really good point that, and I believe I mentioned this in all of our interviews, is like, yes, you guys are being very grateful and we are so honored that you are helping us, but we also want to highlight that we also want to help you as well. So if there's ever, like Marina said, if there's anything that, we are doing wrong, please speak up and tell us. If you have any ideas, if you're like, hey, Marina and Doris, we tried it this way, but I think that I've seen it done this way before. Can we talk about that? Like, we want this to be a very reciprocal process. So if there's any ideas, anything you guys saw, we want this, like I said in the beginning, this is a volunteer-led, community-led organization, and we want this to be a really fun experience for you too. So I guess this is just Marina and I say, like, there's no wall, there's no barrier, there's no like red tape. There's gonna be no repercussions if you speak up and you're like, oh, like I didn't really like it this way. we love feedback. We're learning, we're lifelong learners, and so that's just what I wanted to add.